Now I don't choose purpose that is earthly. What I got promise ain't on the surface. So I gotta guard my eyes now, fortify and guard my mind now. Put more faith in the I am, cause I'm all his, that's fine, no. No sweat, 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 sweat. Carry the cross, carry the burden, carry the pain on my back. That's 1 foot in front of 1 foot. Trust him, not eyes, not my own work. Walk mile on mile in his footsteps. No break, won't break on the conquerors. Conquer flesh for the soul, cause he paid what I owe. No fear in me on the road, cause this is what he showed. When I woke up early from a God visit. 9 pillars underneath a mansion. Rooms on top of rooms with a gold room inside a large temple. Jesus said, this my father's house and it's all you when you finish working. Now I don't choose purpose that is earthly. What I got promise ain't on the surface. And that's just like my faith. No play, no games about grace. Flesh broke, I break this bread. Blood spill, I take the strength. Come to communion. Come to your highness, my spirit is moving. Come be disciple. Lean on his word and never trust idols. Cause the separation out here real. Ain't no God in how you feel. Only way is how you live. By the gospel that he sent.
Peace, 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 peace. What's going on? What is going on? I am tired. I am so tired. The madness that is going on right now. But man, this race is so close. We're talking about razor close. Currently, President Trump is on the path to lose. That's fine. That's fine to me. But at the same time, we have to still address the issues with what is going on during this election cycle, because we have to know how we're going to move forward after this. Currently, they're saying about 18% of black males voted for President Trump. That's about 18% of black males. Now, they keep touting this. They keep touting these numbers as far as black males go, but you don't get the number of black women who voted for Trump. And I find that very odd. And they've been skewing a lot of these things in the favor of how they want to frame things in the favor of their politics. So you get black men being blamed for the law for if Biden loses, black men are going to get blamed for it. And then you got in some of these other populations where you have them saying that these groups are supposed to be monolithic, and they're realizing that they're not monolithic. See, the Democratic hive mind does not see you as an individual. They don't want you to be an individual. They see you as a voting block, and they say you're supposed to vote this way, which is highly and totally incorrect. You should not be saying that, oh, because you're a Latino, you're supposed to vote Democrat. Because you're black, you're supposed to vote Democrat. Because you're white, you're more likely to vote Republican. That is totally and utterly incorrect. So all of this polling data that they've been able to gain is showing us that what they think of us is that everyone in the United States is basically a monolith, and we can gauge who's going to vote which way. Starting off with this article right here, where they're talking about the black, Latino, Asian, and Native American flock to polls amid deadly and difficult year for brown and black people. Now, they are already framing it as there's an issue with how the dangers of actually voting. So they're already either fear mongering in a way to arouse people, especially their base, so that they would go vote, or they're arousing people to not go vote. We know that even though we had record numbers of voters in the voting blocks that they actually needed, they didn't meet the standards. So you got net gains of 10%, 12% with President Trump. And in the telling of the story of non-white voters, you get this situation where you can see the pundits going crazy in their minds trying to figure out what could be possibly the reason why they're not voting the way that we projected them to vote. So I'm gonna switch over to this video from CBS, and I couldn't find the exact video I was looking for because one of the pundits, she just kept blatantly came out, well, now during polls, when we're doing these polls, we can't really say that black people are going to vote this way and white people are going to vote this way and Hispanics are going to vote this way, because clearly it's not that way, which shows you what they thought about you before. So let's get into this video.
That's true. And I think one of the things that Biden did, or that the Biden campaign did wrong, is actually not court Latinos since the beginning. Republicans were very active in South Florida, in Florida in general, because they know the importance of that vote. They knew that they needed to get that vote, those extra 10 points that President Trump did get. I think one thing that this whole election teaches us is that the Latino vote is growing. It's not a joke. It's not an exaggeration. 1 million more Latinos turn 18 every year.
It's not monolithic.
And that's just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And they can't be ignored anymore. The parties have to pay attention to them.
All you got to do is look at Texas, where 1 in 3 voters is now a Latino. And I think that raised hopes for the Biden camp that Texas might be in play. They're advancing the Democrats in Texas, but they still haven't taken it yet.
Right. And the diversity within the Latino community is not only where they live. It's not just geographic and their background. It's the issues that they care about. I mean, we were just talking about the religion, how important religion is. And to those who are pro-life, they have tunnel vision. There's no other issue that's important to those that support pro-life. They don't care about the rhetoric. They don't care about maybe even the economy. All they care about is that it's pro-life. So there's just so much diversity there within the Latino community.
And economics makes a difference too?
Economics does make a difference. I think it resonates more maybe with a South Florida type of voter than with the rest.
How come?
Because one thing that you have to understand is that Latinos, they have been doing well financially up to a certain point. I mean, when you think of small businesses, Latino-owned small businesses are growing at a much faster pace than the general public or the general audience or whatever you want to call it here in the U.S. So they have been doing well. In education, we have more and more Latinos going to college and graduating from college, starting their own businesses. So it's not that they're suffering in that way.
So you're saying if they're wealthier and educated, they're more attracted to Donald Trump? Is that what
it depends what part of the country. That's what's so complex about the Latino vote.
Let's zero in that. I mean, Latinos helped deliver Florida to Donald Trump because of Dade County, Cubans, Venezuelans. And then in Arizona, it appears at current juncture that Arizona will go to Biden in part because of strong support from the Latino community.
Exactly, with very different issues.
So talk about that difference there.
It's interesting. When we had the deciders, I had a voter from Arizona and a voter from Florida, and it's exactly what happened. The woman from Arizona talked about how that anti-immigrant rhetoric resonated with her so much. Now, Arizona, you have to remember, that has been slowly turning blue for the last 10 years, ever since there was a law, SB 1070, a very strong anti-immigrant law that then was challenged by the courts, that really began to galvanize and motivate Latinos to register to vote and to go out and vote. And the result is that now they turned it blue for the first time since 1996.
The takeaway for me in this conversation is that this may be the last election cycle where we talk about the Latino vote instead of particular communities within it. Cubans and Puerto Ricans and on and on.
Right. They're part of America. I mean, we're Americans too. And that's the thing. They want to be considered, from their region, not only as a voting bloc. And, always, I know I worked in Spanish language media for years, and for decades, I should say, and we always talked about how Latinos are going to decide who goes to the White House. Up to a certain point, state by state, they are deciding that. But it's not always where we think that it's
Well,
going.
right now, they're the largest ethnic voting majority. Right now, Latinos are.
It's only going to grow.
And growing.
By 1 million a year, and that's not even counting the naturalized citizens that could. There's millions that qualify to become naturalized citizens.
Maria Elena Salinas, thank you so much for being with us.
So as you can see,
There you see the ballots being.
as you can see with this situation in Florida, we are learning that most of the news media think that Latino as well as black voters, because again, I can't find the clip that I was looking for, and I should have paused it and saved it for later. But they think they don't know where everyone is because there's so much diversity. There's so much diversity. This is another reason why they won't talk about both. See, they talk about Latinos as a whole group. They don't separate them between male and female voters as much as they do with the black community, because they know they can separate the black community with male and female voters because of how they already have us programmed inside of our communities. Now, when they talk about the diversity of the Hispanic community, they don't do the same way. Again, they don't do the same way with the black community, which is totally in itself showing you what they actually think. This is a Latino woman telling you and explaining to, and I forgot what her name is. She's a black reporter, black female reporter. She says, and they're not a monolith. See, they have to say this because their original thinking is that everyone who look like you vote like you. They don't see, and this is the problem with the Democrat Party and these blue checks and the people who think, and these liberals who think like this. They all are covert racists in the manner, and it's in the manner that they, as long as they see and can identify with you with these identity politics, they can automatically show you who you are and tell you who you're going to vote for and tell you what you're supposed to act like, which is totally incorrect. There were some sad, sad people in the Democratic Party the entire night because everything that they thought knew, all of their polls were wrong again. Their polling was off again. They may have had the trajectory correct, but they were off in their polling, and it was again off. Now, later on, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys where I was wrong. But where I actually was right, even though the outcomes were not correct. So, this race in Florida is a showing of how we have to rearrange our thinking when we're actually speaking to liberals, and actually thinking when we go back to our subgroups and get them to understand that it's okay to be different. It's okay to be free and vote for who you want to vote for. Because there is and I'm about to show that video where they talk about this shy Trump voter, this shy Democrat Trump voter, this shy black Trump voter. And it's all in the demographics that the left does not want to admit. They do not want to admit that there is a subsection of every single group that is going to go to the other side, regardless if that's Democrat or Republican. And then even within their own ranks, there are people who are going to defect because they don't identify with the current party. We can't sit here and think that every single person is the same, because they're not. And to think that based on their race is racism. This is the video where I was talking about, where they're going to explain to you about this shy Trump voter within the non-white bracket.
election already is that all those presumptions that African Americans would vote for the Democrats, that Latinos would vote for the Democrats, have been proven wrong. And I think that we are now seeing almost an evolution, Rita and James, of the shy Trump or the shy conservative voter. We're now seeing voters that are breaking out of these kind of minority groups. It's not just the shy Trump voter, it's the shy African-American Trump voter or the shy Latino or the shy woman. And he's broken the mold on all these identity groups, which has to spell real long-term damage for the Dems. Rita.
It does, but also I don't think we've said enough about what an indictment that is on the political class, the media class, the celebrity class, the fact that there is this massive shy Trump voter, people who in a free country don't feel safe enough to say that they support the president. That is something that I think we just sort of dismiss as an oddity, as opposed to something that shows there is real intolerance in a free country where you can't support
intimidation.
And you know, they say, and I've got a column about this in tomorrow's Daily Telegraph, which people can have a look at tomorrow. But the point is that with these shy Trump voters, it's not Donald Trump who is assaulting democracy. It's these people on the left who are making people ashamed of and fearful to talk about who they're voting for. That shouldn't be happening in a free country.
I don't think it's a shame, it's fear. Absolutely. And I've heard people say they thought it would affect the workplace, that they may be sacked or their work colleagues would treat them differently. They don't want to put a sign in front of their house because they think their windows will be broken, or put a sticker on their car, or even put a comment on Facebook because they don't want to have crazy cousin Jenny unfriending them and having a family drama over it.
Again.
Hello and welcome to another.
I highly think that part of the reason why Donald Trump was still in an election is because of the shy Trump voter and the voters who didn't vote last time but are voting this time. That didn't vote last time, that voted this time and voted for Donald Trump. He stayed in because of people like Tim Pool, myself, Ben Shapiro, these notable names, and I put my name in a hat with them, but not to put myself on the same bracket as them. But solely so that you know that these people actually exist. When CNN was telling you there was no such thing as a shy Trump voter, or there was no such thing as a soft Trump voter, they were highly incorrect, because even with their polls among the races, they were completely incorrect. Where you have Donald Trump having 18 to 20% of the black vote, whereas last time he only had like 15 to 12%. 15 to 12%. And that 18 to 20 is just black men. They're not reporting black females in this equation. So the black vote the black vote as a whole, there could have been 20 to 30% of black people who actually voted for Donald Trump. Whereas most the other block or the other amount of people didn't vote for Donald Trump, but they probably didn't vote either. So a vote not for Trump is actually a vote for Trump. So again, these liberals think of us as a monolith. And it is very inconceivable that here in 2020, even with all of the technology, they still think this way. This is my time. I'm going to get up with you guys. Appreciate you. Peace and blessings.